Well, I'm Andrea, this is Eladi, and this is Tony, and we are trying to help everybody get to know how to buy a house in Florida, because if you've bought a house elsewhere, you'll find out there's some big differences, really big differences. Florida's a little odd in some of its real estate laws and stuff. So there's basically 10 steps to purchase a house, and you have to go through those steps one by one, and you can't skip them. And you can't jump over and go to another one and then come. Yeah, you got to do it in order. So if you do those 10 steps, then you're actually going to be in a much better shape. Come on in, grab a seat. So yeah, one of the first things that we do when we're looking to purchase a home is you want to get pre-qualified or go ahead and get a pre-approval, but that's your first step. So you're going to want to talk to a mortgage lender. Thankfully, we have brought one to you. That's Tony over there. So a lot of people come into our office, because I'm a real estate agent, Eladi's a real estate agent, and they come in and they're like, okay, so I want to buy a house and I want this and I want that, and and they dream about what they want in a house, but they don't really know what they can afford, and they don't really know, how much of a down payment, like how much do they need out of pocket. So there's a lot of question marks with the financial side of it. So that's really important to get that out of the way. I liken it to going to Publix. If you go to the grocery store and you're going grocery shopping, but you have absolutely no idea how much money is in your bank account or your wallet, it could lead to some embarrassment later. So you don't want to overshop. You want to know exactly what you need to get and how much you can spend and all of that. So that's why it's important when you're buying one of the biggest purchases of your life is to figure out what you're approved for or what you qualify for. Maybe you're approved for more than what you actually want to spend, so you actually go a little bit less. So that is a pre-qualification or pre-approval, and that's why we want to go to that one first. The pre-qualification is a little bit different from a pre-approval, and feel free to tell me if I am completely out here, but pre-qualification is basically, you call up Tony and you're like, hey, this is my basic income. Here's my, real soft pull on my credit, whatever. And he can say, based on the information you gave me, I think you can get this. It's not a pre-approval. A pre-approval is something much, much stronger, because that's where he actually does a real thorough look at your credit. He does a actual looks at all of your paperwork, your W-2s, your 1099s, your tax reports, whatever, and actually says, okay, not only is what you said accurate, but now I've proven that, so now you're pre-approved. All you have to do is tell me what house you want, and we're good to go. Unless something changes, you're pre-approved to buy this house. Accurate? Any-ish? Okay. All right, I don't do the money side. I do the fun side, okay? The fun side is we go shopping, okay? So I like the fun side a lot more. So that's where we go over to step 2. Step 2 is where I ask you to actually go ahead and dream about your house. Now you have an idea of what your budget is. So now we're going to ask you to think about what you actually want in a home. So take a few minutes, if you can write it down. What are your wants and needs? Some things are wants, some things are needs. If you're like, I need a really big kitchen because I do a lot of cooking for my church or my family. We have a lot of family come over. I need a big kitchen. That would be a need. I would like to have a pool. It would be nice. I mean, it's not mandatory, but it would be kind of nice. Maybe a community pool would be okay. That's more of a want, okay? So go ahead and write down a few of your needs and your wants on your house. I had one person tell me, I need a ice maker built into the cabinets. And I was like, that is a really difficult thing to find on the MLS. I don't know that many houses that have a built-in ice maker. You got the freezer over there. But something like that is pretty custom. So you're probably going to want to just take the house as is and customize the house, because that's a lot easier and a lot less expensive. But she literally thought that was a need. She needed an ice machine built in. I was like, You go, girl. Whatever you want, whatever your needs are, it's your house. So do it up big. Go for it. Some people say that they need tile. They absolutely cannot have any carpeting. Okay. One thing I would say is maybe we'll look at the budget and look at the houses. And if there is one that has maybe some rooms that have carpeting in it, we can go ahead and have that removed and put linoleum or vinyl plank or tile or something before you actually move in. So there's a lot of different things. Just because it's a need doesn't mean that you have to have that second. It has to be something that can be done. So there's a lot of things that you can do with a house even after you're purchasing it. You're going to be playing around with it and making it yours for the rest of your life anyway. So figure out what your wants are, figure out what your needs are, and then we kind of put it in there. If you have a need of 3 bedrooms, we're going to put that in there because that's really hard to add a bedroom on a house. So the size of the house is pretty important, especially the bedrooms and the bathrooms. It's not impossible, of course. You can build or add or whatever. It is very, very expensive. And normally it's better just to buy a house that already has that in place. Okay. So your next step when you're actually writing down what you need in a house is to tell your real estate agent. All about your dream home, your wants, your needs. If you can specify that, that would be great. If it's not just you purchasing the home, it would be really, really, really helpful if you guys were both going into the same house. So sometimes I'll have like the husband telling me, oh, I want a whole bunch of land and I want to be out in the middle of nowhere and I want more trees than people for miles. And then the wife goes, I want to be right next to Starbucks. And I'm like, this house does not exist. He either needs to move out or that house does not exist. You two have to have some kind of compromise, maybe a little less land, a little further away from Starbucks. We got to do something here. So definitely some compromise, but both of you have to agree on the house in the end. And while I'm a very good real estate agent, I am not that great of a marriage counselor. So figure your stuff out. Okay. Past that, after you have figured out your house and you've gone and taken a look at some of the different houses and you're like, this is it. This is my forever home. I'm going to live here until I die. This is the one. That is actually not accurate. Most people live in a home between 2 and 5 years. That's it. That's the statistic. So you're going to live in the house for maybe 2 to 5 years. So it's your for right now home, not your forever home. I mean, we hope that you're there for the next 30 or 40 years and you enjoy it, but it's not necessarily accurate. So try to be non-fatalistic about it. You can always move. This is for now. This is for the next 5 years. Most people's lives change drastically in 5 years. Picture who you were or what you were doing 5 years ago and think of all the things that have changed. It's a lot, right? I mean, him especially, holy smokes, his whole life is different. So think of those kind of things and kind of go, all right, this is the house. I'm going to be happy here for the goals and plans that I have for the next 5, maybe even 10 years. This will suit all of those needs. Don't try and block out for 30 years. It's not realistic. So let's go with 5 to 10 years is pretty good. All right, so you're like, this is the house. You're then going to go ahead and make an offer on the house. So your real estate agent is going to do a contract with you. They're going to do a contract. That offer should be super simple and should be explained to you. Should be some basic things like, what day would you like the keys? That's your closing date. That's the day they hand you the keys. That's a huge difference between what would you like to close or when would you like this to be done. No. You will actually get handed the keys on that day. So if you have a specific date in mind that you would like to be handed the keys to your home, write that date down. What's the best date for you to receive those keys? If you have to turn in notice to your landlord, for example, or if you're still in a lease, it could be 6 months from now, but know that date because it is very, very important. Once you turn in your notice, how long do you have to move out? Do you want to keep the rental at the same time as you have that new home, so you have plenty of time to move between them. Like, what is going to be the best date in your mind for you to get handed the keys? Super, super important. So we can kind of put that into the contract. Okay, the best date for you is going to be this day. And the best day to start this contract is going to be about 30 days prior to that. So we're going to go ahead and put that on the contract. Okay, how much do we want to put in escrow? Escrow is your earnest money deposit. It means you're serious that you're going to buy this house. That money goes towards you. They don't get to keep it. It's your money, but it's put in a escrow account, a separate account, so that if something does happen and you decide at the last minute, you know what, I'm not going to buy this house, I'm going to walk away, the seller then, who's waited 30 days for you to close, can go ahead and keep it at that point. You've gone into default of your contract. Instead of them suing you for the entire amount of the contract, they're going to get that amount. Normally, what's pretty normal here in Florida is maybe $1,000, maybe $2,500. That's perfectly normal. I have seen 500 before, but that doesn't really, I mean, that's basically the price of eggs at this point. So, so $1,000 is reasonable to show that you're serious, to show that you have some cash and that you are wanting to buy this house. Okay, so your escrow or your earnest money deposit is some money that you're going to need to have in cash that can sit there untouched for 30 days and you not feel the pain. Okay. All right. What else are you going to have to pay out of pocket though? You've paid your earnest money deposit on your offer. You've got your whole thing figured out as far as your date to move in and all of that. So you went from step 3 to step 4, you paid your earnest money. Then we're going to go straight up to step 5, and you're going to pay for something called an inspection, a home inspection. Now, at that point, the bank is probably going to call you and say, could you go ahead and let's go ahead and pay for the appraisal. Tony doesn't do that. He's a nice guy. He's not gonna speed you along. But what you don't want to do is do the appraisal first. Why would you not want to do the appraisal first? You want to do the inspection first. Because if you pay for the appraisal and they do the appraisal, you're out the money for the appraisal, which normally they're running right around what, $500-600? $500 to $700. Okay. That normally can go on your closing costs. You don't have to worry about it out of pocket right here. But do you really want to lose that money if there's major issues with the house that show up on the inspection? No, you want to make sure and do the steps in order. So we want to make sure we don't do the appraisal or don't order the appraisal until you've gotten to review the results of the inspection. Okay, very, very important. So we're going to do the inspection. What is an inspection? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to even show up if you don't want to, but I always find it very interesting. I like to bug the inspectors as they're up on ladders and stuff. It's really kind of fun. But I learn something every single time we do an inspection. So the inspector will go out and he's going to check the roof. He's going to check if it's a house that's up, not on a concrete slab. He'll go under with all of the creepy crawlies down there and check to make sure everything is great down there. I do not ever want to do that job. It's creepy. But they'll go up in the attic even in August. They're going to go and make sure that the roof was put on. They're going to check and see how many nails they can see. He's going to make sure that there's enough insulation to make sure that you're not going to have to pay astronomical amounts for air conditioning because the house wasn't insulated correctly. He's going to check all of the plumbing, all of the appliances. He's going to check all of the outlets. He's going to check the electrical box. He's going to check the basics of the sewer, septic, that kind of stuff. All of that stuff is what he's going to check. It normally takes about an hour, maybe 2 hours, depending on the size of the house. If you're going for mega mansion, he's probably going to bring some friends because it's going to take more of them to do this. All right. But for a regular house,